One of the most common questions that usually examiners or reviewers ask about a research project, whether it's a dissertation or thesis or any other kinds of research projects, is about the originality of that research. So the question is, what does originality mean, and how can we make sure that our study is original? Originality means to what extent your research is new and creative, and the findings you present contribute to the body of knowledge in that discipline. So originality refers to the novelty or uniqueness of your ideas or your methods or your level of contribution. So as you can see, it might be about just your ideas or the method you used or the contribution you had that I will explain in more detail in the next slides. So an original study introduces new knowledge or new perspective or new insight about a topic in a way that has not been previously presented in the same way. Therefore, originality is one of the key criteria for evaluating the quality of research. So let's have a look at different kinds of originality. I should mention that we have various kinds of originality, but you don't need to have all of them in your study. As long as you can clarify a few of them or even one form of originality, that would be enough for your study. But obviously, the more the better. So if you can clarify different kinds of originality in your research, that would be excellent. So the first kind of originality is topic originality, which means you are talking about a new topic. But how is it possible when you look at the literature and when you search about almost any topic, then you will find hundreds, even thousands of papers about different topics. So how can we talk about something new? Um, so if you look at different topics in your discipline, then you will realize there are different aspects of each topic. Then you can focus on less explored aspects. So, for example, when we are talking about sustainability, then we have different kinds of sustainability. We have social sustainability, environmental sustainability, cultural or political sustainability. Then your research might be about one of them, the one that has not been fully explored in the literature. So you identify a gap in the literature and then you try to address that. So it makes your research original from the uh, topic perspective. Or I can give you an example from my own research. In my area, human information behavior, which is part of information science discipline, when you look at the literature, you will realize that over the past 4 decades, most scholars look at the challenging or negative aspects of information behavior, like, for example, information overload, information anxiety, information pollution, that sort of things. But in my research, I look at the positive sides of that. So I'm researching the joy of information rather than to what extent information seeking is problematic. So basically, I am looking at the same topic that many other researchers have already addressed in their studies, but I'm looking at it from a new perspective. So it makes my research original in that sense. Um, the second type of originality is interdisciplinary originality, which means when you can make a link between different topics in different disciplines to explore your research questions, to address your research questions. So for example, when we are talking about well-being, which is a very broad and general concept, then we have again different kinds of well-being. We have cognitive well-being, emotional well-being, social well-being, financial or physical, um, different kinds of well-being. So, and each aspect can be addressed from one discipline. So you might look at social well-being from sociology perspective, or you can look at emotional well-being from uh, psychology discipline. So, and then make a link between them and makes your research interdisciplinary. The next type of originality, which is very common, is methodological originality. When you are using new methods in a topic that there are papers about that, but you are looking at the same issue with a new topic. So, for example, if there are many papers with quantitative approach, then you can look at the same topic with a qualitative approach. Or if there are some qualitative studies, then you may look at your topic from one of the qualitative methods, which is not very common in your discipline. So, for example, if there are many papers using grounded theory, you are using phenomenology. So, by clarifying your methodological perspective, then you can justify the originality of your research. The other kind is a theoretical originality. When you look at a topic with a new theoretical framework. Um, for example, I mentioned well-being earlier. Then you may look at social well-being with, for example, one of the theoretical framework in social science like social capital or social inclusion. So in that case, you are looking at the same topic with a new theoretical framework. The other type of originality is called empirical originality. When you present new evidence, when you have new data from a specific group of people, which is basically novel in your discipline, then the evidence that you present makes your research uh, original. So it might be papers about the same topic, but you have new evidence to either support the existing knowledge or challenge it, or you can compare the result anyway in either case. So in empirical originality, your research is original because of the evidence, the fresh, new evidence that you are presenting. The other type is practical originality, when your contribution focuses on practical implications of the findings. Because, uh, as you know, when we are talking about contribution of a research, we may talk about a contribution in theory, contribution in policy, or practice. So when you are suggesting new practical implications in your research to address an issue from a practical point of view, it makes your research original. Or policy is the other type. So when you are helping decision makers to make new informed and evidence-based decision based on the findings of your research, it will make your study original. The other type is when you are focusing on a group of people that is not very common in your discipline. So, for example, talking about well-being that I mentioned earlier, you may explore the literature and see that there are different groups of people, that there are many papers about their well-being, but there are marginalized group that for whatever reason they have been overlooked, and these are less explored corners of the discipline. Then you, by focusing on these groups of people, then your research will be original. Critical originality is the other type when you challenge and criticize established assumptions in your discipline. So again, another example is from my own research, as I mentioned earlier. Uh, most scholars in this area for several decades, they have been focusing on, they assume that information seeking and searching is a kind of a task. It's when we need to solve a problem, we need information. But in my research, I challenge that uh, idea or assumption, and in my research I showed that sometimes we don't have a problem, but still we are seeking for information just as a matter of curiosity because we enjoy finding new information. So I challenge an assumption in my discipline. And finally, contextual originality, when you look at a topic in a new context, because many topics have contextual elements. So, for example, there might be many studies about a topic in your discipline in urban areas, but you are focusing in rural areas. So, by changing the context, then your research will be original. So these are a number of references for further reading if you are interested, and I hope you found this presentation useful to clarify the originality of your research. Thank you.